Short. This is not my chair.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the public session of the meeting of the Milford Mayor and Council. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we think about the Willett family in New Milford. We think about the community of Monterey Park, California. And we think about the thousands of police officers that will be on duty tonight protecting their communities. Please salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please note fire exits behind you into the south parking lot, and to my left, your right, to the main hallways. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the record in the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people, within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. At this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Samuelson. Here. Councilwoman Saraki Hurley. Council President Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotsky.
Here.
Councilman Seymour.
Here.
Councilwoman Grant.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Here. Okay, first thing on our agenda tonight is unfinished business. May I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2022 public and closed session meetings and the January 4th, 2023 reorganization meeting.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, some exciting new business. We're going to present an oath of office to Patrol Officer Thomas Fascini. Chief, take it away.
Okay. Thanks for everyone that came tonight to see our newest officer sworn in, Officer Thomas Fascini. We're excited to have him officially sworn in tonight. He actually started a week ago, but we had to get him. We wanted to swear him in publicly tonight. So he's been here for a week. He did this oath once, so he's not allowed to screw it up tonight, because most people do. Tom is a graduate of Hackensack High School and Stevenson University in Virginia, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He was also the captain of the hockey team. He's coming to us from Hackensack Police Department, where he was most recently a Special Law Enforcement Officer 2, a SLEO 2, which is like a part-time cop. He starts his academy tomorrow to become a full-time sworn officer. It lasts about 2.5 weeks, and then you're going to be teamed up with an officer to go on field training. We're looking forward to that. I invite Officer Fascini up to the dais to be sworn in, become our newest police officer. But great name. Tom's following in his dad's footsteps, who's a retired Hackensack police officer. So I should mention that.
I state your name.
I, Thomas Fascini,
You solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the New Milford Police Department,
of the Milford Police Department,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in the state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people,
And I do solemnly swear
and I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all of the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
This is a good time to take a picture.
Anybody else?
No problem. Congrats. Thank you. Right, Tom?
Once again, congratulations, and we are going to take a 2-minute break, so if anybody wants to file out, now would be the opportunity. Yes. You're next, buddy.
There you go.
Hey guys.
Derek.
What's up, guys?
Okay, moving on. You ready? Yeah. Can I get a motion for the appointment of Jonathan Bird for Fire Company Number 2?
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to appoint Kathleen Lapin Graff to the Historic Preservation Commission?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to appoint Lieutenant Scott Petrie to OEM?
I have a question about that. Does this appointment replace Bill Doobie on your hand?
No. That was Captain Doobie served as the liaison from the police department to OEM. This is for a member on the OEM committee.
An actual,
Yes. Seat on the committee.
got it.
Is that something new, Mayor? That there's a seat for a police officer as opposed to a liaison?
It's the first time we're adding a police officer to a seat, but it's fine. We just haven't done it in the past.
There's no requirement in the ordinance that there...
Yes, but living in Milford. That's the requirement.
But there's no seat specially reserved for a police officer.
No, they just have a liaison from the police department.
Is there another liaison? Who's the liaison then?
I don't know. Who's the liaison? Bill,
Oh, the liaison? I don't know to
Is it
liaison.
Nick? Captain?
I don't know.
I'm not very sure. I think it's Captain Genio, actually. I think it is.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
Someone.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have a few ordinance introductions. First one is 2023:01, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Yes. An ordinance to add section 4-21 entitled Liability Insurance and Annual Registration Requirements for Businesses and Owners of a Rental Unit or Units to Chapter 4 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled General Licensing.
Okay, to summarize, this implements the state requirements of PL 2022, Chapter 92, which requires all businesses and rental units to maintain a certain level of liability insurance and to register their certificate of insurance with the municipality.
Question. Is it in the ordinance, who, enforces this action where a certificate has to be filed with the borough?
It has to be the clerk, with the clerk.
It's with the clerk.
Yes.
Now, does the clerk go out and find these?
No. I'm going to notify everybody of their obligation, and it's on them.
Everybody meaning,
All of the businesses and all of the rentals that we're aware of.
and you find that in a tax office? How do you know?
In terms of rentals,
Yeah.
It's difficult, if I may.
Yeah.
This is a problem that we're having. They've implemented the law without any real direction or funding for the municipalities. It's a mandate, so we have to follow it. It's the clerk's office that will enforce it. If it is reported, they can be exposed to fines. I don't know if, because we don't have a housing officer per se. So they are subject to penalty. There was some debate when we were going through this whether we should include the penalty provision, and I recommend we do because the ultimate state statute requires it. So at this point, we're getting it on the books until we get more guidance from the state. But if someone wants to report to somebody where there's a loss of some kind, they'll be exposed to fines.
This seems to apply to only residences where there are 4 or fewer apartments, and one of them is owner-occupied. Did I read that correctly?
no, the level of insurance required in those instances is less.
Oh, so this pertains to all multi-unit?
It's all, and currently if it's 4 or less, we don't have to even have them registered.
No, they have to register, but they have less of a threshold for the
Right, because
insurance.
it's a smaller unit.
Owners of multifamily rental units.
We also had
But it says
question
something,
coming up with the lead inspection, because is there a gap with what we know? It's like the 2 families we don't necessarily know, or single families we don't know. In other words, we don't have records of that because they haven't been required to register before.
Can we ask rental agents, i.e. realtors, to handle this?
No.
Not to handle it, to notify the borough that there's a rental. If it's going through them, that if they are renting it out, could they be held responsible somehow?
No. You're putting an onus on somebody there's no statutory authority for. Statutory authorities put in the borough, so we really can't pass it off. So at least at this point, this is what we're doing. But there's been a series of laws that were passed over the summer. There's lead, there's this, there was one other too we were struggling with, which escapes me. No, Daniel's law was something else. Something else, again, related to housing. And the borough's doing the best it can right now. Short of having a housing officer in every municipality, which not every municipality has, including the Milford, this is the best we can do at the moment.
Both 2023-01 and 02 are specifically written according to the law that was passed.
I understand, I'm just questioning, I thought I read that it was for 4 units or fewer, but it would apply to a much larger apartment building such as Brookchester?
It does, and with regard to those, we have that.
That's already in place, so this is
Correct.
just specifically for the smaller units.
Correct. And this came on the heels of the lead inspections as well.
They are in place, but I don't have certificates filed annually by them. That's a new requirement.
So we're trying to catch up and then hopefully, again, and talk about Daniel's law, but what I believe is going to happen is DCA will have a database that can then be cross-referenced, and they may actually wind up with enforcement of it. But at this point, I think it's important just to get the legislation from the borough's perspective in place to mirror or effectuate what the state has already mandated. And then we'll take it from there. But there is a penalty. Question is, ultimately, the enforcement of it, right now, it's unclear from DCA what they're going to do about it. If DCA says it's up to the borough to have a housing officer, you might have to implement that. Unfortunately, it's an unfunded mandate.
There is no self-reporting requirement.
Well, yeah, no, it is.
It is, it's all self-reporting, but if they fail
Do
to,
it.
they can be exposed to the the penalties provided by the statute. The question is ultimately, what do you do with that? And at this point, absent appointing someone or putting someone in the administration to enforce that, I don't know how we're going to do it other than failure to report, they can be issued a summons. And then the question is, from whom? Could be the code enforcement official, is the zoning official, and we're waiting for guidance from DCA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
We got a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading.
Motion. Second?
We get a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing on this ordinance will be at our February 13th meeting. Second ordinance tonight is 2023:02, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask you to please read it into the record.
An ordinance to amend section 10-1.3 entitled Fees and add section 10-10 entitled Lead-Based Paint Inspections of Certain Residential Rental Dwellings to Chapter 10 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Building and Housing, and to establish fees for inspections.
This establishes fees and parameters and fines for lead paint inspections for residential rental dwellings pursuant to State PL 2021, Chapter 182. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, once again, this ordinance, the public hearing will be at our February 13th meeting. Next one is ordinance 2023:03, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask her to please read it into the record.
An ordinance to amend section 10-7.3 entitled Certificate of Occupancy of Chapter 10 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Building and Housing.
This clarifies the requirements to obtain a certificate of occupancy, which are outlined in section A, which be the construction official and/or other appropriate designated department officials shall not issue a certificate of occupancy for any building, structure, or unit which does not conform to the state construction codes and provisions of this chapter, including but not limited to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Once again, public hearing will be at our February 13th meeting. Okay, moving on, 2023:04. Okay.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $225,680 for the improvement of Cedar Road from River Road to Boulevard in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a state grant.
This legally allows us to appropriate our New Jersey Department of Transportation grant for the resurfacing of Cedar Road, which badly needs it.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Make it roll call, please.
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Public hearing will be at our February 13th meeting. Okay, 2023:05.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Traffic, thereby amending subsection 7-3.4 entitled Parking Prohibited During Certain Hours on Certain Streets, and subsection 7-10.1 entitled Left Turn Prohibitions.
This prohibits parking on Cooper Street during certain hours on school days, prohibits left turns from Cooper to River and from River to Cooper at certain hours on school days.
Motion.
Second.
Make it a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing will be at our February 13th meeting.
I've been busy.
Yeah. There you go. So we have 2023:06.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford. I'm sorry, that should be Chapter 2. Of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Administration, thereby amending subsection 2-33 entitled Environmental and Energy Commission.
This adds language to the current ordinance to prevent associate members.
I have a couple of questions about this. The Environmental and Energy Commission, the members are appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the council. However, here it says only the mayor has the power to appoint them, and I'm wondering why the council isn't included in that.
When drafting it, since they're only honorary, really, they have no voting power, they don't constitute a quorum, they're really more volunteers. I thought it would just be simpler to do that, but you could certainly amend it if you saw fit. I don't see it as a real commission appointment, which would be the mayor with advice and consent. This is really a little different than the actual commission. It's just supplementing it so they can have volunteers either on an ad hoc basis or, you could even do it annually, but I think the term is just for no more than a year anyway. So,
No, actually, no more than, the term is for a year.
right.
Or until the project is complete.
Or
That's not what
projects.
it says.
We took that
took that part
out.
because that was too problematic in terms of they're on or they off, who's going to monitor it.
But in relation to that, I mean, it doesn't say who these members would be, why they would need associate members. It seems to me there should be something in this that says that they represent a specific area of expertise, which is why you would want them to be participating on the commission, not just pick 3 people, at random practically.
I thought we went over that at the last meeting. This
But
is the whole
that's-
purpose why we were doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the way it's written. I'm not,
But I think the whole purpose is to allow as much flexibility as possible. It can be 3 random people. I don't know what events that they would, we're not going to be appointing environmental engineer per se. That I could see. If you're concerned about that, we'd have to have some definition. These are volunteers that may be available for a specific project.
let me ask Lisa, who do you foresee having, being appointed to these positions?
They would be volunteers with specific expertise or interest to work on a specific project. Because this is new for New Milford, I can't say specifically what it is, but in other municipalities and the conversations that I've had with other environmental committee chairs who use this ordinance, this is an appointment, like if they have a garden, this is the person who they can appoint someone as an associate member of the Environmental Commission, and they supervise the garden. In Allendale, they use this as a way to, are you familiar with the celery field walk? Yeah, the celery farm. So that, there's a position where they have, it's not a ranger, but it's I don't know, at this time, I don't know the exact
That's okay,
title.
I understand.
But he has an expertise, and he is the person who will monitor because that's a preserve, because people aren't allowed to walk dogs there. So it gives him the authority to say, yes. So he's the liaison between the Environmental Commission and the town in that specific role. I hope I have that correct. But these are some of the places, and the anticipation is that the commission and the chairperson would make recommendations to the mayor and say, this is what we're considering to do, and asking for support from the mayor, and that's why the mayor would appoint it. It's for 1 year, and it is an ad hoc, is ad hoc the correct
It's not really ad hoc, it's more of an honorary.
It's an honorary position. Yes, thank you. I just want to make sure I have the correct language. More of an honorary position to formalize the relationship for projects, because as our projects get bigger and more in depth, there is a need for expertise, and there's also a need to offer people opportunities to volunteer that aren't a 3-year commitment.
I'm not arguing with you on that at all.
Okay.
Really, no. I mean, I fully support that, and I think it's a wonderful idea. I would just like the ordinance to reflect that. Right now, it doesn't do that.
It's hard to say.
You said interest and expertise, not just.
It's not just experts, and
But
there
not
are
just
interests as
either.
well. But
But it could be.
It's someone, if they're going to do a plant garden project, someone who either has experience or knowledge doing that,
I understand that, Michael.
whether they have a PhD or they've just done 2 plant gardens all the time.
I'm not saying that they have to have degrees or that they have to have, worked on a hydraulic.
But by saying an area of expertise, it's kind of vague.
It's limited.
it's very limiting.
And it's also vague. What would mean that you have an area of expertise?
I personally don't think it should be restricted. It's hard enough getting people to volunteer as it is. If people are interested in environmental work and are willing to help on certain projects, I don't think it has to be limited to them being a professional or something specific. If they're interested in a situation with it, I'm not saying professional, I'm just saying, I don't think it should be limited. I think it should be open to whoever might be interested in serving the community on the environmental, helping with certain projects that might come up during the year. I don't think it should be restricted.
I wasn't looking at it as restrictive, and, well, I guess a little bit. Because we are talking about going outside of Milford, too, and not just having our residents apply for this position, although it certainly could be residents, I assume. But, I still would prefer that it be the mayor and council approving it, and that they have some degree of, let's say, interest and or expertise.
The only thing I'd suggest is, the environmental statute right now gives no criteria for the
The
commission.
statute doesn't, the state statute doesn't indicate anything,
Just people with
volunteers.
license. And there'd be other,
No.
different parties, like there'll be a planning board or something like that, crossover, but, any of the other members that are not specified by virtue of being on some other board can be any resident.
Although I would hate to argue with the state, I don't necessarily agree with their approach either. So, but this is how it's done everywhere else. We could be better than everybody else.
There's
but this
only 3 towns that I saw that have it.
That
So
have
this
it
is
at all.
kind of a new thing.
And the requirements for the volunteers, there aren't any. Just that they be people.
None that I saw, just that they'd be interested and willing to serve. And again, it's an honorary position. They don't constitute a quorum. They're not a voting member. They, quite frankly, don't even really have a participation on the commission itself, because the commission is formed by statute.
Right. This is really a way to get a project done. You know, this is really for help with boots on the ground, like getting things done.
Well, I was hoping that it would be people who actually had knowledge and ability to contribute to the project.
The determination of that is made by the commission or the commission chair. They're not going to want to appoint someone who has no knowledge on it.
But you'll be doing the appointment.
They're going to recommend it to me.
So that's how it's operating, even though that's not how it actually says, the ordinance actually states that.
Well, imagining they would give me a name to appoint. They would say, we're doing this project, this person.
Would you need a resolution for that process?
No, I would just put them on the appointments, just like usual, and say, I need a motion. Someone seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I still think that the council should have a part in this. Approval.
Whatever the pleasure of the council is, I think the environmental should be able to appoint people with a wide range of interest to PhD. But if you want the council to...
It has nothing to do with PhD. It has nothing to do with an advanced degree. You keep bringing that up. It has nothing to do with...
You're saying expertise.
Expertise.
How do you judge expertise?
Work that they've done, but not necessarily through a degree. There are things there are ways of accomplishing
The difficulty I have in terms of drafting it is I don't know the projects that are going to come up. It's been posed to me, we need this for if there is this kind of a project. So without anything to go on, I just left it as vague as I could, just to be flexible. But if that's not the pleasure of the council, I've got no dog in this fight. I'm here to serve, so we can draft or amend or do whatever the council would like to do as to.
What is the pleasure of the council? I mean,
I think it should stay vague because it's new. It's the first time we're trying this. The commission has been very aggressive about projects. They really want to accomplish things, and they have. So in order to add to their workforce, they're needing these numbers. This way, it can add to these projects when they need to, whether they live in New Milford, Dumont, New York City, wherever. Just if they are an honorary member for 1 year, and generally that's how they complete a project, within a year or two. I don't see the harm in it, but I would say it's something we should keep an eye on and look to the commission and say, is this working? Is there another way we should approach this? Listen, it won't be the first time that Milford has done something that other people are going to look at because we were brave enough to do it. So
I understand. So
I think we should do it.
Perhaps we could have the councilman send his report back to us at the end of the year as to how this worked out and whether we need to tweak the ordinance.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, environmental is required each year to give us an update, so I'm sure this will be part of it.
Mm-hmm. I do want to make clear that I'm not opposed to the principle of expanding the commission to have volunteer members. So I'm just saying, I don't want you to get the wrong idea.
Got it.
I don't think anyone's going to accuse you of hating the environment.
Thank you.
And as the borough attorney stated, I just wanted to dovetail on the statement. It's like, we haven't done it before. We don't have projects where we're like, why do we need this? And we're used to making ordinances to solve problems. And this is a little bit forward thinking of the Environmental Commission to be able to facilitate the future projects because they've been growing and taking on larger and larger projects. So this just helps facilitate the ability of the foundation of the operating of the commission to be able to be effective instead of having a project slowed down. You know, we all know what it's like to have our project, how much patience it takes to get things done. So this is just a way to facilitate a little bit of execution.
Just be careful that you don't have too many cooks spoiling the broth.
That won't happen. So, thank you very much.
All right. I'm going to ask for a motion. I don't know if someone did it. May I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing will be at our February 13th meeting. Okay, next one is 2023:07.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 10 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Building and Housing, thereby amending subsection 10-1.3 entitled Fees.
Okay, this modifies certain sections to add generators to the list of devices and revise fees for electrical devices. May I get a motion to introduce on the first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay. This will be public hearing at our February 13th meeting. Okay, last one for tonight, 2023:08.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 17 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Sewers and Water, to rename the chapter Sanitary Sewers and to revise Section 17-1 entitled Sewer Systems.
Okay, this outlines requirements and responsibility for sewer connections, extensions, and during demolition.
During the course of last year, a number of issues came up where it became clear that long-time practices in the borough were not codified. So the purpose of this is to codify certain sections or certain issues regarding sewers. For example, the responsibility for the sewer lateral versus the sewer main, which traditionally in New Milford has always been the homeowner's responsibility for the lateral based upon DCA regulations regarding connections. In looking at and speaking to Vince, I saw that, it just wasn't codified. So while it's all practice and procedure, it would be better to have something to point to. In addition, Vince identified some other deficiencies that needed to be updated to current standards. Our code, I think, goes back probably to the 70s on sewers. So he's brought it to what I think is a much clearer and more informative standard.
Can I get a motion to introduce?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, public hearing on this will be at our February 13th meeting. Okay, item number 1 is police department hire. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, the police department has had another resignation, not to go to another police department, but to go into the private sector. He's retiring from police work. And he was our SLEO at the high school. So he's going to be sorely missed. Unfortunately, what that does is we're going to have to replace him with a patrol officer out on the street. So it's like a double whammy. You're taking an officer off the street and putting him into the school. So we would be down one patrol officer. Therefore, the chief has requested that we do an immediate hire and start searching for a new officer to replace him.
A SLEO.
not a SLEO, a regular officer. We have SLEOs that are certified that can go over there. But that SLEO who's on patrol during the day is now going to have to be at the high school.
I'm not following. The SLEO that's there is the one that's retiring.
He left, yes.
Okay.
So we have to replace him.
With another SLEO.
Yes, but we have several SLEOs on our force.
We have people who
We have people who are qualified to do this, who are now currently out on the road.
So they would move into
So they would have to move into this position, and you're taking them off of the road.
So he'd be going from a patrol officer to a SLEO.
Yes,
To a school.
the way it's more or less,
school
yes.
resource officer.
The chief hasn't decided who's doing what yet, so, but that's, we don't have to get into, but that's what, the concept is, yes. You have a SLEO out on the road now.
It's a school resource officer.
It's a school resource.
Not a SLEO.
A school resource, SRO.
So it's the SRO that's leaving.
Yes.
So we need a new SRO. And you're saying we have an SRO we can
In-house.
move there.
That we can put there.
And so we need to go from patrol to that
Yes.
position.
Yes.
Is it paid the same? I thought SLEO's got.
No, it's
It's part-time.
I believe it's
It's not a SLEO, that's the
It's
mistake.
the SRO.
A SLEO is a special
That's
law
right. My
enforcement
bad.
Right.
officer.
Oh.
This is an
Yeah.
SRO.
This
This is a fully sworn officer.
So in simple terms, we're losing a police officer and we want to replace a police officer.
Yes.
Thank you.
And with the new hire, what does that bring our force to?
37.
Do we
36. If we don't hire another one. We
I
got
didn't
30.
ask that question.
Hiring, replacing maybe 37, correct?
36.
36,
Yeah.
Including tonight,
including tonight. Yeah, 36 we have one more, yes.
which is 2 under max.
So
But that's what we've been working with. 36.
We've been working with 2 under, we talked about going to 1 under.
We've been working with 36, though.
let's
Never
just
mind
go
under
over the
old.
number, right? Yeah, we don't have to go under.
It's been going 36, 37, 36, 37.
It would be bringing it back to the number that everybody agreed we were okay with.
Which is,
The one less than we're supposed to have,
Which is what,
which is,
37.
so,
so we would have 36 if we hire a new person.
no,
We would have
37.
We would have 37 if we hired a new.
That's 1 under.
mm,
I'm pretty sure it's
I'm
37.
not clear, to be honest. Too many different answers.
It's either 36 or...
We're down 1. We'll still be down 1. We're down 2 right now.
Never mind the down and the up. This person is leaving, we need to replace this person.
Correct.
That's the issue right now.
That's the issue.
Okay? Okay.
So,
But Randy asked the question, how many do we have?
no, I said with you're proposing to hire someone to replace the resignation.
Correct.
With that new hire, what's the number?
37.
You sure?
Not 36.
37.
Okay, thank you. So we're 1 below your magic number,
It's not a magic number, it's an ordinance number.
I think. It's based on the
It's a-
FBI's
But it's
recommendation.
a target, not a requirement.
That we revised a few years ago to lower from 40.
Who was chief then?
That was Chief Ramisi.
But wasn't that a
No,
target?
I'm sorry, it was Chief Clancy.
Then
It was 3
I
years
don't
ago.
mind.
Yeah, it was Chief Clancy.
That was a target number, not a requirement.
Right.
Target number 6.
That number gives us what we want to do with the different patrol units, and community policing, and
But the
SROs, and traffic division.
The point I've also been trying to make is that you're taking an SRO currently on patrol during the day off the street and putting them in the school. So you're going to still have 1 less out on patrol. That's why it's important to bring up the number to 37 here, because it happens to be an SRO. Does everybody follow that concept?
One's leaving, we're getting another one.
Well,
Yes.
who makes the call that either the high school goes without or the patrol goes without? Who makes that call?
We have an agreement with the schools that the high school and the junior high school will have the middle school
So I asked the chief.
have officers,
Can't
SROs.
call.
No, we have a shared agreement with the schools for their salaries, and we have actual police officers in the high school and in the middle school, and we have SRO.
And she knows that. I am aware of that. But who makes the decision that says, instead of letting that be empty until we get someone to fill it, we take someone off the road?
I'm not following.
Well, you're taking somebody off the patrol and putting them in the high school,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Until you get someone hired to go back on patrol.
No.
No? Yes.
Isn't that what you're doing?
Yeah, someone, yes.
Isn't that what you're doing?
If I can clarify,
Help me.
it
Help me make
sounds like
this
the
clear.
chief is recommending that there be a reassignment of a patrol officer who is eligible to serve as an SRO,
Okay.
presumably a longer-serving officer, and we'll move the officer into that role, whereas patrolman would should be, presumably, depending on the applicant pool, would be an entry-level patrolman.
Well, why couldn't an entry
That's
level
all I got.
hire go to the high school and keep an experienced patrol person on the road?
And newly hired
To
patrol
help-
officer is not
to-
certified to be a.
They have to have certifications, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I think I get it. So annoying though.
Well, I already
Because
explained
then-
more clearly to start with.
I mean, really,
Yes.
Iron, it's all your fault.
Yep. I was just trying to bring out that we have to take somebody off the road and can't patrol. If it wasn't in.
Stop.
Stop.
Because I'm gonna raise my hand again if you're not careful.
Me too. Can I move on to number 2? We're okay with number 1? Everyone understands? We're okay?
Yes.
We're replacing someone who retired.
Fine.
With some,
Retiring with a new person.
that's okay.
It's still one less than we used to have.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Let's not even go there.
Don't go there. Chris,
You
stop.
can inform the chief to start the hiring process.
Okay.
Number 2, schedule updates. This should be easy. The only thing I have in the immediate future is on Saturday, February 11th, is our free rabies clinic, sponsored by the New Milford Board of Health. It'll take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the New Milford DPW. No rain date. Is there any other?
Cats should be crated.
Cats should be crated. Okay. And dogs should be on a leash?
Dogs should be
There we
on
go.
leash. Yes, and controlled.
Yes. Is there any other borough functions coming up that I failed to mention? Anything from any of your committees, commissions? Okay. Item number 3 is the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. For our engineering update, Madison Avenue sidewalks, we're still pending DOT and DEP resolution. We're working with our local legislator to facilitate a resolution, and we resubmitted all of the documents to the DOT on December 22nd. Still waiting to hear back. NJDOT culvert, the DEP FHA, that's flood hazard area application, was submitted in December. The DEP has 30 days to deem the application complete and then 90 days to review. The Sutton Place tennis court lighting, the work is complete, the power is connected. There's going to be a light test by the lighting company on Thursday, and then we're just working with them to turn over the system to the town. NJDOT Boulevard and graphic traffic signal, the design was submitted to the DOT for review. The bid spec is going to the borough for review and comment. Fowler Drive CDBG Road project. The design is in progress with an anticipated bid date in February or March. The NJDOT Municipal Aid Cedar Road, the design is in progress with DOT submission planned for early February. Bergen County Open Space has recommended an $87,038 grant for lights at the Prospect Park basketball courts. This is a matching grant, and we are awaiting additional open space funds before authorizing the project, our own open space funds. Grant applications for Rydell Road, CDBG, and Prospect Park through the DCA have been submitted, and an application for Main Street is in progress with the grants consultant. That's it for my engineering report. Budgets have been submitted by all of the departments, and the budget committee will begin reviewing the budget requests in anticipation of our budget introduction in March. And our next meeting is scheduled for 3 weeks from tonight. We have an extra Monday in January, so Monday, February 13th. That's it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Which, it's the day before Valentine's Day, so do not forget.
Really highly doubt I would.
Do not forget.
Well,
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at the resolutions? Are there any that need to be pulled for further discussion and or vote? Have you, Randy? No?
how dare.
But at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to add an item number 3 to our closed session tonight. I'm calling it current litigation. Make it a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, before we open up to the public, I'm going to ask real quick to go around. Let's start with Councilwoman Grant.
The planning board is starting its review of the master plan. We're having our planner meet with us at our next meeting. We elected our new officers. John DaCosta is the new chair. He actually has been reelected as chair. He's doing a great job. The rabies clinic, which you mentioned, thank you so much, is on February 11th, and I've been going for quite a few years now, and I have a great time. But it's also a wonderful opportunity to have your pet get its rabies shot for free. So please come on down. Thank you.
Councilman Seymour.
Thank you, Mayor. Very briefly, just like to let everybody know that the Flood Advisory Committee is meeting next Monday night here at Borough Hall, and we're encouraging as many people as possible to come. We want to encourage people to come and if they have interest, get more involved in our committee. And the Municipal Alliance met last week and is already planning, in conjunction with the Stigma Free Committee, this year's Black Balloon Day in memory of those we've lost to addiction. And tentatively, that event will be the first week of March, with more details to follow.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mayor.
And once that is settled, obviously that will be posted on the mayor Facebook page as well as the rabies clinic. I'll do that one tomorrow. I'll set that tomorrow. And then there's, they're not specifically connected to the municipal government, but there's a bunch of high school fundraisers stuff coming up that I'll post as well. Mainly wrestling money. Wrestling fundraising. Councilman Grassi.
Thank you, Mayor. As I was saying, the SRO, no. This Wednesday, the Shade Tree Commission will be meeting, and they've scheduled meetings for a new time. It used to be 7 o'clock. It'll now be at 7:30 for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to mention that the mayor and I, on January 1st, attended the Milford Fire Department swearing in of new officers, and I take this moment to wish our new chief of the department, Rob O'Brien. I wish him well and good luck for a successful year. I also attended the Senior Center Senior Board meeting on Thursday, January 19th. And let's see, I do want to mention, now first of all, this was my first time doing this. That place was packed, happy, welcoming. It was delightful, I gotta say. All right, so just a brief overview. This is their schedule every day. That's big. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's really good. May, there's a bus trip to see the Neil Diamond show. July, they're going to AC. September, they're going to Doolin's.
Don't you wish you were old enough, Mayor?
I'm there, baby. And November, they're going to Radio City. So it's just a really great experience over there. The members mentioned that the people that attend there are enjoying the Milford only There was a change last year where now it's just Milford residents only. So there's enough room for the classes to take place, and they really are enjoying everything there. One of the board members also mentioned something about a CPR class. So I'm not sure where that would go. Would that go through?
They're interested in having one?
Yes, or attending one, or, didn't we talk?
Lynn would organize something like that.
She could,
Actually,
but-
Jess Brunner used to run CPR classes also.
Still does.
Still does, so she was the
So
perfect
very
person.
Put them in touch.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
they can work something out.
Well, we can be in touch with them. But that's my report. Next meeting, February 16th at 11:30. So I told them, Chris, they can't keep moving the meeting around on you.
Okay.
Good luck. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor. So the New Milford Green Team is organizing and planning for a Sustainable Jersey recertification. They'll be looking over resolutions and preparing those for presentation coming up in the next couple months. They are also working on educational outreach items. They're planning for spring and summer events. They are purchasing stainless steel reusable straws with New Milford Green Team logos. They've got bookmarks and seed cards featuring a QR code and the volunteer at newmilfordborough.com. That's the right email, right? No S, right? Volunteer at newmilfordborough.com?
Yes.
I always add the S because I want more volunteers. So and it'll also feature our Sustainable Jersey certification logo. You don't have to put that in the notes. So those will be available at various outreach for the planning for Earth Day and National Night Out. So they're ahead of they're saving delivery service fee. So they're being economical. And then the New Milford Environmental Commission, Paul Greigel and Phillips Price are professionals who are working on the environmental resource inventory data collection. They will be presenting at the next Environmental Commission meeting a status report and update. And the Commission is searching for a native plant and urban rain garden designer. So they're in the process of looking for someone to help them with the planning of the rain garden. And that's my report. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to mention, the MELGIP had their reorganization meeting in January. So, and just be aware for cyber training. Make sure you keep updated with your cyber training.
Yes. It's here and it will continue into the future.
Yes.
Okay, under OEM, all of our OEM's EOPs have been submitted to the county for 2022, so we're up to date on everything. EOP's Emergency Operation Plan. Historic Newbridge Landing, they're continuing to do fundraising and planning for the new museum barn that's going to be built. NMFD, they're looking for members. I posted something on the Facebook page. There's certain nights of the week where you can go stop by Company 2. There'll be people there. You can learn about the firehouse, and then alternate nights for Company 1. If you have any questions, you can refer to that or to the fire department's Facebook page. And one thing Council President Duffy forgot to mention was that about a week and a half ago, her and I attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting in Teaneck. We met the newly elected mayor, Michael Pagan, and we sat in and listened on what their chamber was doing, because we know New Milford has not had a chamber in a few years, so this is something that we are working on rebuilding. New Milford has an influx of new businesses and new people, so we think now is a good time to try to get it organized and get a chamber strong and going in New Milford. So I'm sure we'll be visiting a few other towns in the near future and bringing back information as well. So that was fun. And I ate all the candy and candy dish at the bank.
Yeah, he was a big hit.
The entire dish. At this time, I would ask for a motion to open up to the public.
Wait 1 second. Motion to file the committee reports.
Yes, can I get a motion to file the council committee reports?
So
Let's
moved.
put it up some minutes. Make it a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Make it a motion to open to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any comments regarding the borough of Milford, we ask you to come up, give us your name, your address, and you get 5 minutes. Can you get your name and address for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry?
Your name and address for the record.
Okay, Brad Lucas. Okay,
Your address?
okay. I'm sorry,
Your
address? Oh, 588 Columbia Street in New Milford.
Thank you, sir. What can we do for you?
Columbia Street is very near the train station. And, I'm 63 years old, and we really have, all my family has suffered from the train horn. And can I read, is it a paragraph, the train horn rule and quiet zones? Have you heard about quiet zones? It's just a paragraph, it'll be short. Establishing quiet zones, the final rule also provides an opportunity for localities nationwide to mitigate the effects of train horn noise by establishing restrictions which may have existed prior to the establishment of the rule may be qualified. It's quite technical. That's what my concern is, the train horn. And actually, there's someone that on the street that moved out because of it.
What you read from, what is the source of that? So I can look into it and
Sure.
see-
Well, the search was, I have all the material here.
Can you leave me a copy of that?
Sure.
Okay, you just leave it right on the podium and I'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Seeing that there are no other members of the public, may I get a motion to close the session?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going to closed session. So we will be closing the meeting to the public. When we come out of closed session, we will be adjourning. What is it?
No further business will be discussed or acted upon.
We will immediately adjourn the meeting.
We haven't voted on the resolutions, have we?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, we're not. I was just telling you. Okay, resolutions. May I get a motion to approve resolutions 2023:61 through 2023:7? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. May I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night.
We're going to be reconvening next door in the conference room.
Okay.